It's time for another Indie Dev Showcase here on the channel. Every Wednesday night stream, we play nothing but indie games, and these videos are the recaps of them. And we are always looking for submissions for future games, so if you're interested, please get in touch. Unless I otherwise say it, these games have been played with press keys. But with that said, we're beginning with a demo, and this is The Last Cube, and we play this during the Steam Festival. The hook of The Last Cube is yet another brain-melting puzzle kind of experience. The rules for this one are that each face of our cube here can get a symbol. Whatever symbol is facing on top is quote-unquote going to activate your power. So each symbol has its own power here. The green one lets you clone, yellow I believe lets you dash, pink lets you teleport, and you get the picture. And the challenge of the game is twofold. You have to orient the cube, as you see right here, to get the proper facing while moving around. And you also need to figure out what exactly the puzzle solution is for said game. And again, that is only two steps of craziness for you. But it is one of those experiences that I think that once you kind of get it figured out, it becomes a lot more second nature to you. And as you saw, I finally got it there. Now, the demo only showed off part of the first world, and I really like what I saw with this. It offers, again, a very simple understanding, but can be sternly elevated to, your brain's going to overheat levels of complexity as well, including sections where things will destroy symbols, as you saw, and setting up challenges that involve multiple symbols working in tandem in order to complete them. If I had any concerns or nitpicks about the game now, is that the overall presentation may be a little bit lacking. It is just essentially going from one puzzle beat to the next. I don't know if there's a story or any other grand situations that are why we are playing as this cube going on a big mystery. But if you are a fan of puzzle games and like them on the challenging side, then I would definitely keep an eye out for The Last Cube when it's released, I believe, later in 2021. We now go from something kind of mentally stimulating to something that's going to make your fingers sweat, I believe. This is 22 Racing Series, and this is a game that combines the micromanagement of special abilities and such of a real-time strategy game with super high-octane racing, kind of similar to F-Zero or Wipeout. So it's two great tastes that I am utterly terrible at. But this was a demo that we played during the festival, and the challenge of this one is that they're really going for high-level racing in terms of different abilities that you get. You're able to customize your vehicles in terms of what abilities you get, or which ones you apply, which you can then use during races to ideally give you a hand, or just send yourself careening off the track at, almost over 1,000 miles per hour. So the big thing about this one is that A, I am terrible at it, so I am probably not showing this off in the best light, and B, this is definitely a racing fans kind of game. If you're hoping for, or at least from what I saw in the demo, for a very easy to get into kind of game that kind of walks you through it, I don't know if 22RS is going to do that at this time. Now again, this was a demo that we played, I think 6 or 7 months ago at the time of this taping, so things could have been improved or iterated on. But with that said, if you do like your racing games that bouncing off of rocks totally on purpose there, then definitely check this one out. If you're not a fan of games or may have issues with motion sickness, especially, very fast scenes like this may not be the perfect game for you. Speaking of a game that's probably more my speed, we have Pumpkin Jack. And this is a game that we played the demo of it a few months ago. The game is officially out now. And this is one that I really enjoyed. This is a 3D action platformer that plays very much like a spiritual successor to Medieval. And if you enjoy that name, perked up your ears, then you're definitely going to want to check this one out. The story is that we are playing this time as the bad guy. We have been summoned to try and basically deal with even worse guys who have been let loose by I think it was like the Demon King or something along those lines. And to do that, we're going to go on a one pumpkin army quest to fight these creatures. So combat is going to be a mix of range, but with a greater focus on melee, as you have a shovel here. And you'll also gain additional powers and abilities as the game goes on. The Crow is kind of our sidekick / exposition man. And you get all the staples of 3D action gameplay. Dodging, jumping, double jumping as well. And you get the picture. Now each level has different objectives for you to achieve, MacGuffins to find, and all that lovely stuff if you really want to go for 100%. And I like the look and feel of this game. It has that kind of, Nightmare on Christmas, very, holiday or cartoony kind of design to it. I think suits this game really well. And from the demo in the first level, there was quite a variety of things to do in it, including turning into this pumpkin, John Carpenter's The Thing amalgamation thing. As you're trying to solve puzzles, there is an auto-scroller or escape from an exploding building challenge. And the game definitely has a lot of variety, and you can tell the developers put in the work to make this one. And really, if I had any complaints about this, is that, well, it is a 3D platformer. It felt like it was on the moderate to maybe moderately easy side. So if you're hoping for brutally difficult challenges, at least from the demo, we didn't see it. But if you're not a fan of 3D platforming, Pumpkin Jack will probably not do anything for you. But if you are looking for another, what appears to be very solid example of the genre, then definitely pick this one up. With that said, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have 3 more games to look at for this week's Spotlight. And now for a quick thank you to our current Patreon supporters. And if you're interested in my books on design, they are available at most major retailers. 20 Essential Games to Study is for first-time developers looking to be inspired, and the Game Design Deep Dive series covers the history and philosophy of major genres, with horror coming later in 2021. We now turn to a different kind of platforming. This is Linked Mask. And this game is pitched as a modern retro, very brutally difficult platformer. The story is that we have to climb 6 treacherous towers in this world, defeat the bad guys at the top, and gain their masks for, I'm sure, for some very important reason. So the hook of this game is that this is very difficult. And you're going to see that as I kind of fast forward through or show off some of the later parts. The second aspect is that you get different masks that change how your character moves. So one mask may give you a double jump. One mask may let you do wall jumping. And the challenge of the game, of course, is that you're going to have to switch between masks in order to perform different tasks. And the game has also hinted that you can return to levels with future masks to find hidden areas and bonuses. So there's definitely a lot here, and these levels appear to be very long. I think we spent like 30-40 minutes playing this one on stream, and I don't think when we got close to the end of it. It just kept going and going. And while this game certainly has some very interesting and challenging platformer design, I do have some issues with it. One is definitely the length of these levels. There's 6 levels in the game, but I'm pretty sure that in terms of size, they could easily represent maybe like double or even triple that in a traditional platformer. The other point is at the aesthetics. As you've seen so far, the game is heavily designed to emulate the Game Boy kind of palette color here. And while it certainly does, I found this to be very hard on my eyes. One, because of the color itself, and two, because just the level of detail that's in some of these background areas. It really started to bother me after an extended period of time, and I don't know if there'll be different like color palette swaps you can change to, or anything to kind of alleviate that. So with that said, Link Mask has potential if you are a hardcore 2D platformer fan. If you found games like Super Meat Boy to be too punishing for you to play, stay very far away from this one. But if you enjoy a challenge and you like your platformers, then you may be interested in this when it's released, I believe, later in 2021. Switching gears yet again, we turn to Phogs. I'm pretty sure I just butchered that name entirely. And this is either one of the cutest things you've ever seen today, or body horror for kids. And I'll let the audience here decide that. The story is that we are, well, a dog, not to be confused with a cat dog, who's on a mission to explore and have fun. So the controls are, you have each analog stick controlling one of the dog's heads, and they have to move in tandem in order for the body to go. When one head grabs something, the other head can interact with it, as you can see right here. And the game can be played either single player with one person controlling both using these sticks, or can be played multiplayer. Now, because I was doing this as a demo, I don't know if the full version of the game that it is out now allows you to play it with online or just remote play. But this is essentially a 3D kind of action platformer kind of game, where your mission is to get through each area, collect lovely MacGuffins, and just have, I guess, a very fun time here. If you're hoping for brutally difficult challenges, I don't think this game is going to do it for you. But some of the stuff can certainly be challenging, especially if you're trying to work with a friend, because as we all know, these co-op games just tend to lead to ruined friendships, I think. But overall, from what I play of the demo, this looks like it's going to be another very delightful, kind of weird, as you can see, and fun puzzle platforming kind of design. So other than just like dealing with the physics of everything in play, I don't think there was really anything I would say stood out to me negatively about Phogs. And again, I'm sure somebody will correct me with the pronunciation in the comments down below. For our final game of the video this week, we have Moolander. This was played during the Steam Festival as a demo, and there's certainly something wacky and interesting about it. The story is that we are an alien exploring a mysterious planet in search of alien cows, who supposedly have not only the best milk in the universe, but apparently everything is ran on this milk. And we are in search of the infinite milk, which I assume can lead to infinite cheese, and maybe we can have some infinite pizza at some point. But our basic gameplay is Metroidvania, by the twist that instead of running and jumping like in a platformer, we are flying around in our lovely little saucer here. The exploration is done by, of course, finding new upgrades, which will let you access previously unobtainable areas, and hunting down these alien cows, which reminds me a little bit of the progression of something like Metroid 2, where you had to kill X amount of Metroids in order to unlock kind of like the big area bosses and move the story forward. Now, the demo didn't go too far into things along those lines, But you're going to be doing a lot in terms of Metroidvania design. Opening up doors as you see here, killing enemies, trying not to die. And of course I was playing this on the higher difficulty, so everything was extra fatal for yours truly. And you're going to be, as the story implies, fighting evil space cows. And you can't just kill them because you need to harvest their super milk. So you have to use special attacks that will stun them so you can capture them. And each cow type has its own attack pattern and things that it's going to do. So yeah, it kind of reminds you in a weird way of something like Earthworm Jim, which also had a very much cow-focused kind of story, for those of you who remember. So with Moolander here, there's definitely a lot of fun, I think, to be had with this one. You can tell by the aesthetics, the developers, like with some of the other games we played tonight, definitely put in the work in terms of making something interesting. And hoping we can play the finished version when it's released later this year. In terms of any complaints or misgivings about it, I don't have any at this time. Again, this is going to be on the harder side, especially if you ratchet up the difficulty. And I'm always, as fans know, looking for new Metroidvanias to play and enjoy. So with that said, we will be wrapping up this week's Indie Dev Showcase. You will find links to all the games in the description down below. And again, if you are working on a game and would like me to take a look at it for a future piece, or would like us to review your store page on our weekly show, please get in touch. Check out our Discord and Patreon link down below, and come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games. Until next time, take care.